You're listening to News Talk 1340 WJRW. John Gonzalez, the Going Gonzo Show. Little Rock Lobster for you. Why, I don't know. Just randomly because I like the song, I guess.
B-52s were quite the different band.
Yeah, well, they're from my era. And
mine too.
Love the. Oh, yeah, we're both about the same age, so love that band. Right, we'll try to get a hold of Ginger Zee here in a couple seconds from ABC News, but she had a report on ABC about the tornadoes that swept through Oklahoma on Friday. We're going to play you the report here because it'll give you the background of what she's been through in the last few days, weeks here, and then we'll try to get a hold of Ginger. Go ahead, Judy.
A heavy weekend for everyone again here in Oklahoma. So many families and friends lost, and yes, like you said, now colleagues, 3 men who were all about the science. If anyone understood and respected the power of nature, it was Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and their colleague Carl Young. They were tracking the powerful EF3 tornado in El Reno Friday night, the area getting hammered by 165-mile-per-hour winds. Many of the storm chasers barely outrunning the twister, but Tim and his team did not survive. Tim was found seatbelted in his car. The others apparently pulled from the car by the tornado.
There's something that doesn't make sense because he knew exactly what he was doing, and he's always been controlled and safe.
Tim Samaras was a pioneer, a world record-holding researcher.
For me to be out there and witness Mother Nature in that state is just absolutely fantastic.
When I studied meteorology, we studied Tim's work. He became a colleague and a friend, a family man who always made sure to kiss his wife goodbye.
See you later.
At times, I have mixed feelings about chasing these storms. On one hand, they are incredibly beautiful. On the other hand, these powerful storms can create devastating damage that change people's lives forever.
Inspired as a child by the Wizard of Oz, he spent his adult years developing probes.
45 snails employed!
Ultimately, his goal was actually saving lives through the technology that he's been able to develop.
So this is it. Tim shared that sense of awe with me last summer on a 3-day trip studying his other love, lightning.
I don't know how many storms I've seen in my lifetime, but every single one of them, I still get pretty excited. The little boy in me just wants to come out here and just watch and stare.
I have to tell you that Tim Samaras was one of the most brilliant men I've ever met, an engineer and a scientist. He was no risk, no thrills. He always wanted everyone to be safe and was concerned for everyone else's safety. And I think that's what all storm chasers will take from this, to be extra safe, to go that way and to move on. Our thoughts and prayers are with all of their families.
And that's our very own Ginger Zee from Rockford for ABC News and, of course, GMA Weekend. And joining us on the line is Ginger. How you doing, Ginger?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Holding up.
Holding up. And I said to you in my email, first of all, thanks for joining us. I said in my email that it must be so emotionally draining right now. You have been through so much in the last week.
Yeah, it's weird because, I've basically been in Oklahoma for the second half of May. I came down here to storm chase before the Moore, Oklahoma tornado, so I left New York May 16th or so, and I really haven't stopped working since then. It's been double shifts, and then to have Tim and Carl and Paul pass at the end was just a strange, twist to this nightmare that's been happening here in central Oklahoma.
Ginger, we are joined here in the studio with our good friend Scott Winters, longtime radio veteran here in the market. And Scott's the one that said to me, hey, let's reach out to Ginger. And I tried because you're so great to us and to West Michigan. You keep us in mind when you're on GMA Weekend. You're always giving a shout-out to Michigan or even Rockford and everything. But I know Scott really wanted to talk to you about his thoughts on the whole thing, too.
Hey, Ginger, tell us a little bit about what drives these individuals to do this type of thing. I mean, I know I'm a weather geek as well, and probably my second passion growing up was weather, and I'm surprised I didn't become a meteorologist because of it. But there's a drive there, and these gentlemen and women, too, for that matter, they know that their life is in danger every time they go out there, but there's still that drive to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been storm chasing since college, and I say that, and it kind of hit me because I've got this question a lot in the last couple of days. Why do you do it? And the first and most important reason is for education. I mean, just like a doctor would not operate on a dummy. You know, they need to operate on a cadaver first to learn how the body works. You need to go as a meteorologist and see how the atmosphere works. You need to see a thunderstorm form. You need to see a tornado form so that when you go to work for the National Weather Service or when you go to work in television, you can then say, that's right, what I'm seeing on the radar was actually like this. You can't do that from a textbook. So number one is education. And then second, I'd say, is research. And what Tim was doing for years, for decades, much longer than anyone else, he was such a pioneer in this. He was going to get that visual, the cross-section of the tornado, putting cameras and probes inside, along with amazing and some never-before-found variables and data that we could use to understand what was going on inside that mystery that is the tornado.
I mean, it kind of goes back to the movie Twister. I mean, even though it was a fictional movie, I mean, what they were doing is they were trying to get their little instruments, Dorothy, into the eye of the tornado, the center of the tornado, so they could get those readings and that data that they needed to try to help formulate what makes these things happen, so that maybe we can predict these storms a little bit further in advance.
Yeah, predict them in advance. And Tim was really before Twister, so if anything, they copied him because. And truly, that's probably what happened. Unfortunately, that movie is so scientifically unsound. Sure. It's become kind of a cult joke in the meteorology community because it's so bad. His work would then inspire others to. Even that movie, at least it got people thinking. At least it allowed the general public to say, oh, well, now wait, people do this. It was kind of brought to attention. So. There was some positives out of it, but I just think Tim's work just started and inspired a lot of other meteorologists. Reed Timmer, who I know very well, and who's also from West Michigan, he is sending probes into tornadoes via airplane, via helicopter, via anything he can, and he wants that data too, because it's going to help engineers in the future to build roofs that may stay on just a little bit longer.
Ginger,
Tim says that.
Is it true the rumor that Reed lost the hood of his car over the weekend?
Yes, but you'd have to. I mean, I talked.
Didn't hear that from you, right?
Yeah. No, I wrote in it since, and it is. It's not. It's getting good ventilation. Sure.
Well, and there were a couple of other storm chasers that got tossed around during the storm or storms on Friday night as well.
Yeah, well, Reed actually, that hood came off in a different location.
Oh, okay.
So it actually had not to do with that tornado. But from the Weather Channel to a couple of other chasers that we've seen the video of, that tornado was obviously slightly different than most because a lot of them were racing to get away from it, and it kind of just took twists and turns that weren't quite what we always see. So that was a problem, but I still, in the death of Tim, it's so strange, and Carl and Paul, and that's what's so strangely ironic, and we feel like there's something else that happened because Tim was the guy we made fun of for being too far away. Mm-hmm. You know, he was always the one that dropped the probe, and he was super safe, and he would be the one miles and miles away, then go get his probe and do his science, and it wasn't at all about thrill. So there's something that doesn't make sense, whether it was a car problem. You know, that's just me being optimistic and thinking because, of course, a tornado is a tornado, and we don't know everything. But Tim, first and foremost, was about safety, and then science. And so it just doesn't click.
Ginger, we've got about 1 minute here, and I know that you must be getting texts from your family and your mom saying to be careful all the time.
Yeah, she does, but I think she's actually given up on that a little bit.
Well, stay safe out there, and all your with your working out there and chasing these tornadoes. I know that you're getting close to these storms as well, and we want you to be able to make it back to Grand Rapids in one piece at some point.
All right, thank you.
Take care, Ginger.
Okay, bye.
Ginger Zee from ABC News, GMA Weekend, Rockford girl, just out there chasing storms in the eye of everything. And as you heard her, she's worn out. I mean, she is emotionally drained. I heard her say on ABC News that Good Morning America over the weekend that this is it for her. I mean, she really has been emotionally drained by all the things that have happened, and then to have colleagues pass away.
Just the amount of hours that you're working doing this, and then when you have the emotional baggage that's added on top of that with death of people that you've worked with and very closely. I mean, that really doesn't help the situation at all.
It does not. All right, well, James the Game Gemmel is here with local news. We'll do ABC News at the bottom of the hour, and then more of the Going Gonzo Show on News Talk 1340 WGRW.